This conference will now be recorded.
Alrighty. All right, so you can all see my screen now. Great. Welcome everyone to our inaugural third Wednesday call during this pandemic. This is our, like I said, our third call. Just kind of on informational updates to make sure we're all kind of on the same page as everything plays out in this crazy times. So just as a quick reminder, the best places to get information related to COVID-19 would be the City of Dubuque's website, which is www.cityofdubuque.org/COVID-19. And then you can also visit the Iowa Department of Public Health at idph.iowa.gov/emerging-health-issues/novel-coronavirus. And again, this will also be sent out to everyone. So you will be able to access these links as well. And do also make sure you're checking on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is cdc.gov. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information as far as coronavirus goes. And as a reminder for yourself and for anyone that you may know, whether that's a neighbor or a friend or a family member, if they do need help, resources or referrals, they can call 211 or visit 211.org. That is being manned by United Way and other community organizations to try and get as much just kind of get a handle on all of the resources that are available and to make sure to disperse people to the appropriate needs that they may have. So again, if you yourself have needs and you don't feel comfortable reaching out to me in regards to it, please do call 211 and they'll be able to get you some help. Whoops. Odoni sign and save emails. So everyone should be either receiving or should have already received an email through Adobe Sign and Save. They are the contract, just the COVID-19 contract updates. It's not really anything that's quote unquote pertinent. Well, it is pertinent for just files and things like that, but it's not going to really affect any of your day-to-day lives. It's just a document that the Iowa Commission has requested for all of us to just make sure that we're getting signatures on. It just kind of delineates that COVID-19 affected your service, that people were offered the opportunities to do teleservice or disaster response or maybe activities that we typically wouldn't do in a typical grant year, and activities that may not usually be related to our grant. So it's just kind of allowing us to cover all of our bases. COVID-19 CNCS guidance on CPC exits. So I know I mentioned last week that in the CARES Act, there would be guidance related to this. So this is the national service guidance that they're putting out for everyone. In particular, there is the AmeriCorps State National Program specific questions that usually come up, and they do always try to submit this or to update it and let us know when they were last updated. The information that I want to make sure that I'm covering with everyone is, gotta find it. Let's go all the way to the bottom and see if I can find it there. So here we go. This is it. So I mentioned to everyone either on the phone as well in last week's call, was related to the compelling personal circumstance exits. And just as a reminder, Well, I'm just making sure I'm getting the right one. They have the exact language that I want to make sure that I'm going with. Here we go. So, compelling personal circumstance. This is, if you remember all the way 6 months ago at the beginning of the term, we talk about, the ways that people leave AmeriCorps contracts, which first is successfully. That is what we always aim for. But we also realize that, that sometimes people leave for cause, which is more of a catch-all situation. It's not necessarily negative, although, if we had to let somebody go, that would be considered for cause, but it would also be if somebody needed to, they had to get another job, things like that, that would also be for cause. Compelling personal circumstance, that is kind of the catch-all in relation to life happens, and sometimes we don't really have the control that I think we all wish that we did. So in regards to compelling personal circumstance, typically the compelling personal circumstance is prorated based off of the number of hours that were successfully completed during the member's term of service, and the amount that they would typically have been prevented from being able to complete their contract in whole. So for example, if a member would have reached maybe 75% of their contract, they would have received 75% of the planned education award. So with this, the corporation has released some guidance on compelling personal circumstance exits in relation to COVID-19. So first is, and this is not changed at all, so any AmeriCorps members who served less than 15% of the minimum required hours, so basically that's 15% of, sorry, the wind is getting on my door, so if you're hearing that, with the compelling personal circumstance exit, members need to serve more than 15% of the minimum time, which would be like 300 hours for a 300-hour contract or 1,700 hours for a 1,700-hour contract. Members need to complete more than 15% of that contract to be able to receive any education award at all. So that has not changed in any capacity. That's still the same regulation. What has sort of changed is members who have served between 15 and 50% of their contracts will receive a prorated education award. So that is kind of in line with what typically we see when it comes to a compelling personal circumstance exit. So let's say that somebody finished 30% of their contract, they would receive 30% of their education award. So they wouldn't receive the entire award, but they would still receive that prorated amount. Now, what has really changed is because of COVID-19, they have issued guidance that a AmeriCorps member who has served over 50%, so 50% of their contract, so for example, a 300-hour contract, as long as somebody finished over 150 of their hours, they will be eligible to receive the entire education award, even if maybe they were 20 hours short, or if they were the entire 150 hours short. So for the most part, pretty much everyone within the grant right now will be eligible to receive their entire education award, which is really great news. I'm really excited that the corporation put that out. For those who may still be, issuing their or completing their terms of service, we have a handful of people who will go through August. This still does mean we want you to continue to serve and meet the needs of the contracts, but just know that it's not going to negatively affect your education award. So you don't have to, when it comes to returning to service, you're not going to essentially have to work double time. So with that, I am going to be I'm going to be taking this guidance and putting that into just a document for everyone to see, and just have available, with kind of maybe an update, I suppose, to our program handbook policy. But I wanted to make sure that I shared that with everyone. It's really good news. So let's see. Moving back to the upcoming update, or the current updates, student logs. So please do continue to send your student logs in with a list of all of the students on your current caseload for the semester. So I guess maybe not continue to send them in, but we at least want to know, at least from everyone, a student log that has the list of your entire caseload. So that would be students that maybe you have a list that you're supposed to see. I know obviously kids get changed in and out throughout the semester depending on what's going on. We can't really plan for that. But the kids that we know that you're all seeing for this semester, or that you were seeing, we'd like a full list of them, and just the, I suppose maybe the more average number of sessions that you would typically see them in a 2-week period. So maybe you would usually see a student twice a week, as everything, or as long as everything panned out, teachers didn't keep them in the classroom for an activity, or maybe they weren't absent, but we know in a 2-week period they usually would have been seen 4 times. That's going to allow us to maybe get a better picture of like the true impact that COVID-19 will help. I realize I didn't finish the sentence on that slide, but that's what it was supposed to do. We know, obviously, I believe we all understand that this is going to have some pretty long-term impacts on the kids that we're seeing. But any ways that we can really put data behind this, or, even to be able to say that, at Bryant Elementary, 30 students would have typically been seen because of COVID-19. Students missed out on, a total of 120 tutoring sessions. So it's just going to allow us to put some numbers behind this impact, which I think is very meaningful, especially when it comes to, the long run, and the performance measures that the program is responsible to submit to the federal government. Timesheets. So please do continue to submit your timesheets. Make sure that you are including these weekly Wednesday meetings. And if you are able to participate in any COVID-19 disaster response service, please list that as alternative service. I may be doing a little bit of follow-up with each of you individually. We are supposed to submit kind of an overall picture of number of hours and number of AmeriCorps members participating, and what exactly they're doing. So I may reach out to you individually. For example, if somebody is volunteering at Project Rooted, but they have also been sewing masks. So it just is going to allow me to get maybe a better picture of the actual, again, the data behind all of this to submit to the federal side. Again, opportunities for teleservice in home. So daily story times or literacy Facebook Live events. We hope to be able to start these pretty soon. So that could be recording yourself and as a video, and we can upload them. If you'd be comfortable doing like a live presentation, we can do that. I know many of you have reached out to your site supervisors about prepping materials, and in overall, there isn't necessarily a whole lot to be done. I think there's still a lot to be figured out when it comes to how education is going to look um, for students right now. I know that the school district is still waiting on information from the Iowa Department of Education when it comes to to electronic learning and all of that. So I know that they're still trying to figure out like what this looks like. So, you know, we just have to really be patient with the school district. Another thing to note is that we will not be returning on April 13th. That is a for sure thing, whether the school district has issued that or not. We will not be returning to school. So I guess we're kind of planning to April 30th. But again, the reality is that we may not be returning at all for the rest of the school year. I don't know that, it hasn't been issued, but that I think is kind of the reality of the situation, unfortunately. So if you are interested in doing anything in home as far as teleservice goes, please do reach out to me. If you have ideas that you can participate in, that'd be great. And one thing, I know that Amanda is currently muted right now, but she is very much a pro when it comes to sewing these masks. So I may refer people to her in regards to if you are interested in sewing masks. I know that she has a lot of knowledge going on and some connections to some of the Facebook pages. I know Dubuque Mattress has kind of some grab and go materials. So if they will give you the stuff as long as you can sew them at home and then bring them back. So those are some things that we're seeing online. And when we get to kind of the questions phase, I'll unmute Amanda and she can give us more information if possible, if she's available to do that. Sorry, Amanda, don't mean to put you on the spot. Opportunities for service. I've sent a lot of members to serve at Project Rooted. So that is a great organization. I highly recommend it. They are asking for notes to be put into these lunches as well. So if you can't necessarily go to Project Rooted, you can send these cards to them and they'll include them in lunches, and I will allow that to be counted as hours as well. I'll also include, it was included in the last kind of Wednesday email that I sent out, but I'll also include that again for people. If you do participate kind of in service out in the community, again, please refer to our COVID-19 policy. We need you to be protecting yourselves at the, that is the most important part. So please refer to the CDC guidelines and make sure that you're, you know, keeping yourself safe, social distancing. I know that masks are now requested that for people to wear those, not medical masks, not N95s, but just general masks or a scarf or something to just keep their face, their mouth, and their nose covered. So if you have something to put over your mouth, I would recommend doing that. This is where I am going to actually, let's see. I'll come back to this last slide. I'm going to send out, you know, for a GoToMeeting or one-on-one conversations to be scheduled with everyone. I'm going to aim for the week of April 20th to do that, just kind of for a lot of you, that's about 2 weeks or a week before the end of your contract. So just a way to kind of just touch base and make sure that I can answer any questions that you have by that point. So I am going to unmute everyone now. So I will ask that you all kind of be planning to mute yourselves on your end unless you're talking to avoid background information and then or background noise, and then to, you know, unmute yourself when you are going to talk. So, all right, everyone should be unmuted.
Hi, everybody. Kim. Sorry, Heather. When you wear your masks, be sure to wash them and disinfect them.
Thank you, Kim. So this is the part where I do kind of want to have a conversation with everyone. The world has really changed. I think we all are kind of feeling that. And the reality is the social distancing that we're doing right now, it's going to be happening for a little while longer. And then when it's safe for people to come back out, we are likely going to see another rise in people being infected with COVID-19. And I think we're going to see this a lot longer than maybe what was anticipated or maybe what is being talked about. And I think that this opens up conversations on a totally new world for us in general. But I think it's going to have some long-term, there we go, implications on AmeriCorps and how we provide these services that we're doing, whether that is tutoring services in the schools or engaging teens and teen nights at the Multicultural Family Center and mentoring services at Mentor Dubuque. So I kind of want to open it up to kind of a conversation with all of us to really be talking about what are the most important activities that we're doing as AmeriCorps members. And I want that kind of from your own perspectives, because I know we have people in here who are past teachers where education is the most important part. We have guidance counselors and social workers where the relationship is the most important part. And so we need to be thinking about how do we start changing our methods, you know, in all of the different ways in a technological world where I think we're going to start really relying more on technology. And how do we improve our own knowledge? How do we adapt to these changes? What the AmeriCorps program, as far as me on my end, like what I need to be trying to provide and get access to. But also, what are these ripple effects going to be? And what can we be doing to get ahead of them? So I'm just going to kind of open it up to get, you know, some feedback from all of you. So feel free to, you know, jump in, not all at once, take your time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think it would be really cool if we were able to see the kids virtually somehow, at least some of the kids that we work with, to send them a message, a video message, or work with them virtually by video. You know, we can hold up flashcards, we can do all kinds of things as far as a learning tool. You know, I think that would be really cool if that was possible at some point.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Going with that, is there any way we could get like a TV channel that they could tune into?
That's a really good idea. You know, right now I don't have an answer for all of these things, but I want to get your all of your feedback and just ideas that you have to be able to provide. So keep them coming, keep giving me ideas.
If there was a way, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
If there was a way to make like on our own time making videos for like basic skills like sight words or something that they can keep in an archive and that all students can get access to, I think that'd be beneficial and flexible for both the students and the parents.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Any way to be able to get the address of the students to send them a note about reading?
I doubt it just because of we're not a part of the school district. So I don't think that they would give us that information, unfortunately.
Is there any way you could send it to the, oh, the schools are closed, right? I was going to say send it to the schools and have them mail it out.
Yeah, the schools are all closed, the buildings are closed, so I don't know how they're getting mail or if they're getting mail, but I think anything physical is going to be very difficult right now. I think anything technology-wise is going to be difficult right now. But again, we have to think about long-term implications. That's not just for the rest of this school year. This is also, you know, not just for summer, but I think maybe the next school year and time after that too.
This is Linda. I know you were just talking about technology, and with the schools being closed, there won't be really any access to get to the students. But this is kind of an example. My granddaughter is in Fort Collins, Colorado, and they use Seesaw, which our kids do too, to their parents. And I don't know, I think their teachers may be going in a couple of times during the week, but my daughter says, oh, this is what Sophia's teacher did. And doing Seesaw, she read a story so the kids could log into Seesaw and then they could see the teacher reading the story to them. Now that probably kind of similar to what you'd be talking about with the daily story time or the Facebook time. We can, you know, be reading a story to them, or like someone mentioned the sight words, you know, we could probably just spend one session flipping through sight words based on whatever grade level you would be working with.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Thank you.
And also, if you're looking, pbs.org, oh no, sorry, Scholastic. I was looking up a lot of resources for a family yesterday. Scholastic has kind of just an example of what like a storytime read-along sort of thing might look like. They have it broken down into weeks and different grade levels, so it might be just something that's easy to kind of look at, research, and then replicate to kind of individualize it to our students.
Great, thank you. I know we only have about 2 minutes left in our 30 minutes. So this is actually something I am going to send out kind of in a form. So I really would like all of you to take some time to really think about these long-term implications and what we need to be doing to adapt. You know, I'm trying to think more big picture in ways that I can be facilitating this and, you know, talking with program partners, school districts, other people across Iowa to try and address these needs that I believe we're probably going to have. So when I send this out, I just really would appreciate, you know, any sort of candid responses to these questions, or even bringing up questions that maybe I didn't ask or put onto the slide, and other things that we should be thinking about. So with that, I guess any questions that anyone has about today's.
Hey, Heather, this is Judy. I have a question about the student logs. Like this Friday would be Good Friday and there's no school. Do we take that into consideration when we're filling out our logs and just deduct that full day?
You know, I think I don't think we need to get that in depth for it. I think because I don't want you to all have to submit the same student log week after week. I think just put kind of a generalized, you know, estimation of what typically would happen. And then on our end, Kim and I will kind of take, you know, a look at, okay, you know, overall, we would have expected students who have been seen this amount of times. And because of COVID-19, you know, that is the direct impact. So I would say we don't need to get that in depth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I have like most of my kids are like assigned to me, and like I work with them, you know, one-on-one or whatever. but then I have some that like it's just kind of like there's a list of the kids that the teacher can pick from to send to me. How do I do that?
I would go with, I'd first start out with the listed students that you know are assigned to you. And then
Right.
underneath, you could probably, under words, maybe put a couple spaces and then say, these are students that may typically be sent to me. Maybe if you know or have an idea, maybe it's once a week that they're sent to you, or maybe it's twice a week. I would go with your kind of best judgment on it.
Okay.
Because this is all an estimation. I don't think there's any way that we can truly know, how COVID-19 impacted, but this just gives us a best, estimation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Amanda, are you on the call?
Yep.
Do you have any guidance as far as people who are interested in making masks or anything that you would recommend?
If anyone is interested in doing that, would they want, maybe I can give them my email, or if anyone has questions, feel free to get in touch with me.
Okay, I will include your email when I send out this call and kind of the quick update of everything. I'll include your email if they have any questions, and I'll also link that Tri-State Medical Masks Facebook page that you had
Okay.
talked about
Yeah.
for people to also review there as well.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, if there's any other questions, speak now or forever hold your peace until maybe like next week or something.
So Heather, this is Judy again. Am I understanding that we're not going to do phone conversations again until the week of the 20th?
Correct. We'll plan for the week of the 20th. So I'll
Okay.
send out an email with that guidance as well.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep, thank you. Alrighty. As always, you know that I'm available to all of you at any point in time, whether you have questions or if you just need to talk. I know it's a tough time for everyone. It's been a month now. So your well-being is the most important part to me. So know that I am available to you, whether it's a conversation or just, whatever I can do. I do also want to say that I'm really proud of all of you. This is not an easy thing to be going through, and I appreciate you all, putting your all into all of this. So with that, please be safe and take care of yourself, and I will talk to you all next week.
You also. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.